Good morning, wealth warriors. Good morning, good morning, good morning, wealth warriors. Today is Saturday, and if it's Saturday, that means that wealth warriors are on. To our lady warriors, welcome. To the men in the house, welcome. This is about wealth. This is the place where you will want to feel comfortable about talking about wealth because that's what we do. It is our physical wealth, it's our mental wealth, it's our financial wealth. In this case, we're talking about the money. We're talking about the structure. We're talking about what it's going to take for us to create the wealth that gets passed on generation to generation. And I've got to tell you something. Ain't shamed about it at all. This is the time we're supposed to be talking about these things. We're supposed to be living a legacy. You know what I always say? That old money didn't start off as old money. It was new money that generation after generation became old. And it's not just about taxes. It's about taxes. It's about money. It's about structure. It is about all the elements that are necessary so that we arrive at the destination. Our hopes and our dreams are fulfilled. And right now, the focus is 100,000 families around the world. And we're going to start 1,000 at a time. And so we want to welcome everybody. We had some early risers this morning and we acknowledge them in the feed. And by all means, when you hear something great this morning, go ahead into the feed and share that with the entire Wealth Warrior family. We are ready for expansion. With that being said, you know that I need to welcome an incredible woman. I will tell you one of the joys that I have about her being the co-host is that she is able to flow. She carries on, she goes with the flow. There are times when it is crunch time and she knows how to crunch. She hails out of the great state of Ohio. She is an accomplished businesswoman in her own right. And what is incredible about her, as far as I'm concerned, is her ability to balance, her ability to declutter, her ability to organize. She knows 100% of what it takes to be incredibly successful. And the best part is she likes to help others have fun and she makes money too. That is powerful. With that being said, please allow me to bring aboard our co-host, Miss Pamela Stone.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Miss Brent. Welcome, Wealth Warriors, Lady Warriors. Let's get out here. We're going to rock this. As Miss Brent said, we are here to touch 1,000 lives. We want to be profitable. I know I do. So don't you? And this is where we can do it right here. And you know, as we said, we are growing, and as we grow, we want you to grow. Today is learning about money and how can you do anything. You got to have resources and you have to have the education for how to get the money in and how to use it wisely. So we're going to have Miss Brent and our guests, and well, we're going to talk about the ways we can do that and get money in so we can be profitable and so we can grow and so we can get to the next level and then get to the next level next year. So I'm ready to go, everyone. How about you?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Why don't we get started? As you know, we've restructured the show. So the first thing that we want to share with you is any announcements that we have. And if you have announcements that you want us to share on the broadcast, be sure to inbox either myself or Pamela so that we can include those because we want, again, the money to circulate. We want you to be able to network with each other. I'll tell you what, I just networked with a gentleman around my vehicle insurance. I have saved myself $60 a month. And I don't know, but I prefer to have that $60 in my pocket rather than in somebody else's pocket. So with that being said, Pamela, what kind of announcements do we have today?
Absolutely. On 5/24, there will be a conference on want to be your own boss. So that's going to be perfect. Then the next one on 5/25, there is a free networking night in Farmingham, and it comes with free hors d'oeuvres. So you know, food will bring out more people. More people will be able to be able to network with everybody. Then on 5/26, There is an after work social networking. For those of us that work and you can't get out during the day, you can't have any excuses for networking to build you and to build us, build everyone. And then lastly, the last announcement that I want to make here, on September the 30th, there will be a girls' night out here in Columbus, Ohio. If you're not able to make it, we totally understand, but we are offering where you can do some advertising for that event. If you want to do that, please reach out to me. You can email me at determined.intuitivewoman@gmail.com. Sorry about that. Had that moment. Was so excited about learning how to make money. I was getting ready to say money, so I apologize. But again, that email again is determined.intuitivewoman@gmail.com. And any announcements, if we've gone too fast or you missed them and you didn't get time to write them down, just check them out in the Wealth Warrior feed. Have a great day.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I want to add two more announcements to what Pamela has shared. And one of those happens here in Boston, Massachusetts, and that will be next Thursday evening. There will be a WOW event, a business opportunity presentation we refer to as game night on Thursday evening. And that will be at the Best Western Adams Inn, 29 Hancock Street in Quincy, Massachusetts. And all roads lead to Quincy at 7 p.m. Encourage you to come. You know, one of the most important things about that growth of your business, that growth of who we are and what we want to accomplish, is being around individuals that have the same mindset, the same ilk, so that we can take it to the next level. I had a great conversation with a person that I have the highest regard and respect for, and she talked about changing our circles. You know, that old adage, you can't hang around with broke people and be rich.
So
you can't hang around with broke people. Isn't that the truth? You can't hang around broke people and expect to garner or to grow to the next level. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. And so that's what she talked about. The other event that's happening in July, the closest event other than game night on Thursday, the other event is going to be She Speaks. That is an event that has been put together by a woman named Shanaza Dusant, who is highly acclaimed in the Direct Sellers Association. She is highly acclaimed in network marketing. And she is hosting an event that is for all types of businesses. It's going to have breakout sessions, awesome speakers. This is actually She Speaks and He Speaks. So this event is going to cover all, and it's going to be an exciting one. That is going to be on July 29th through the 31st. I'm one of the ambassadors for that event. I'm going to drop that link in the feed, and you are certainly welcome to go up and register for it. When you do, you'll see ambassadors listed there. Drop down and you'll see my name. Press the button and it'll come through on the link that I am responsible for. And it will be my pleasure to see you in Atlanta in July.
Me too. Me too.
That's right. That's right. You will get a chance to meet the co-host for Wealth Warriors. She will be there also. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, with that being said, Pamela, what we're focusing on today is your business structured? One of the things that we said is May, June, July, and part of August, we're going to be talking about business. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, small business ownership. Why? And I will say this to the bitter end. The reason for that is that we all must own our own businesses, whether we work a conventional job rather. And in that case, if we're working that conventional job, that is our biggest client for the time being. So how is our business structured? Now, this week, we're going to talk about the businesses. We're going to talk about the primary types of structures and some of the elements that we want to know about that. And then next week, I anticipate that we're going to have an attorney that's going to then dig deeper. So right now, what I'm giving you, what both myself and Pamela, will give you is going to be commentary so that you can start thinking about this. And then we'll have the attorney that's going to talk to us in much more depth. So we're taking it as a two-stepper here. And in fact, throughout this entire 3-month period of time, we're going to generally have a two-stepper. We're going to introduce it, then we're going to bring an expert with it. So sometimes you'll end up with 2 weeks on that same topic because we'll intro it and then bring in expert. Other times it'll be experts on both occasions. We just want to make you aware of that. Also, we have an entrepreneur. We have an entrepreneur for the Entrepreneur Spotlight. Pamela, you want to tell us a little bit about that person before we get underway with the actual content of today's program, today's show?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be bringing on Lamish. Lamish works here in Columbus, Ohio. She does a lot of the video marketing. And as a business owner, you know that's the best way to get your message out is to do video marketing. So she'll come on and talk a little bit about the importance of video marketing, how you can get in touch with her, and get some tips from her.
Awesome. That is good to hear. You know, exposure is critical. As I said in the feed, being a secret agent is not going to get you paid. Now, with that being said, let's talk about structure because, you know, oftentimes what will happen is you start off in your business either one or two ways. You started off and you just threw it together. And I don't mean throw in a negative sense. I mean, it was a part-time gig. It was something that you were doing on the side. And then things changed and you realized that this was actually going to produce more money, or it was going to change your lifestyle, or it was going to put you in a tax bracket that you were not expecting. And as a result of that, now it needs to be formalized. So what I want to share with you is the 5 primaries that more often than not we hear about. Sole proprietors. All of us, more often than not, start out as a sole proprietor. There are partnerships when there is more than one individual. It might be a partnership between you and and a family member. It is a partnership between you and another individual. LLC, limited liability companies. There also are limited liability partnerships. A C Corp. And S Corp. Those are the primaries that we hear more often than not. And each of them has an element that we need to be cognizant of. Pamela, when you are dealing with your clients, what oftentimes do they have a structure in place, or are you helping them with that structure?
Well, Brent, I'm fortunate to deal with both sides of the fence. I have sole proprietors who already knows what they're going to, so their structure is in place. And then I do have clients that I'm helping them come to the structure. I'm helping them to understand what it is to be a sole proprietor, what it is to be an LLC, because there's a lot of misconceptions on the two, and they get mixed up, and then everyone else forgets all about the the other ones, the S Corp and the C, and the C Corp. So they get those all mixed up. So I have referred them back here. This is, as I tell everyone, and I keep telling everyone, this is a awesome resource tool for everyone to sit here and listen on the Wealth Warriors. As Ms. Brent said, we're bringing in education, and this is one of them very, very most important. Everyone needs to understand what the difference is, because guess what? You got to use this for your taxes and it will mess you up. Trust me. I'm working with someone now who had totally messed it up, so I'm having to bring in a tax attorney to help them get it all fixed and worked out.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I do feel for them when that kind of thing happens.
Yes.
Now, you know what it is? Now we're adding more cost, because now, as you said, you've got to bring in other individuals. So in that case, it's very similar to sewing a garment, whether it's a jacket or a pair of pants for a male, whether it is a suit for a woman, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it is easier for that professional to start all over again than to try to take something apart. It just doesn't work very well that way. So, and it's the same thing here. Let's talk about the sole proprietorships for a moment. And what are they? Well, a sole proprietorship is that individual that owns the business. Now, the interesting thing about the sole proprietorship is that the owner is, in fact, the business. And it can be really great. And a lot of times people start out that way, and they start out that way primarily because they just want to get started and they don't want to have to wade through all that is necessary for them to wade through in order to get that business underway. And we're not saying there's anything right or wrong about it. What we're saying is be cognizant of some very powerful things.
Mhm.
First and foremost, you have the ability as a sole proprietor to have an owner's draw, to take money out of that business as you choose to take money out, because you are the business. You are the solopreneur. The element that you need to be cognizant of is the fact that you're taxed on your federal tax returns. You are taxed on your state tax returns. Now, you file typically a Schedule C on your federal tax returns, and that does allow you to take deductions. But here's the deal with that. It's going to be your Schedule C, and generally your sole ownership, or your sole proprietorship rather, runs a calendar year. So they generally run from January to December. Your choice on this. Why? Because it is all about you. Your Social Security number is usually used. Here's the most critical element of all, and that is you are personally liable for
Mhm.
the structure of all that goes on in the business, and that includes the business debt. That includes the business debt. What is personal liability? When you're sharing that information, Pamela, with your clients, what are you telling them about personal liability? What is that? What should that mean for them?
Well, what I tell them about the personal liability is what it is, personal liability, and you take that on. It is nobody else's responsibility, as Ms. Brent said, but yours. And so that, again, that's what personal liability. A lot of people, I can tell you this, when we come as business owners, a lot of people are like, it's not my responsibility. In this for instance, it is your responsibility. Please understand this, because a lot of people believe going into business that if something goes wrong, they can push it to the side or they can give it to the government. No, it is your responsibility to this piece. So please be very cognizant of of the way you're representing and what you're saying, because that is your personal liability. Personal liability.
True that. One of the things that I always encourage business owners, it doesn't matter whether you're a sole proprietor through an S corp. One of the elements that I encourage you to utilize is insurance.
Absolutely.
Errors and omissions insurance, professional liability insurance. You want to take some of the heat off. Now, in the case of a sole proprietor, oh, so much more. When it comes to the
Mhm.
partnerships and so on, there is some flexibility. But as a sole proprietor, it is so in your best interest. And if you are a sole proprietor working from home, that is critical.
Huge,
Oh, yes, it is.
huge.
And let me share from personal experience. I work, and I still do. I have a home-based business. However, when I initially started in a home-based business, I will never forget a client coming to my home. We are walking out, and
Mhm.
we're walking in front of her car. We're having a little extended conversation. And as she's walking down the steps, she says to me, "Man, all I would like to do is stub my toe on somebody's front stairs, and I will sue and have some money."
Mm, mm, mm.
I stood there in complete and utter shock as I thought to myself, oh my goodness. I remember walking back into my house and saying to my assistant at the time, never again. That woman is never to come to this office. I will meet her in a public location, because what prevents her from walking down the stairs,
Mm.
stubbing her toe, and saying it happened in my home? And I don't have the insurance to cover that. If you are working out of your homes, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot implore you enough to talk to your insurance professional about your business insurance, your professional liability insurance, also any other element of insurance that's going to protect you in your business. Because today, right now, sad to say, people are so happy. Industry in my mortgage business, and I know that Kelly McGovern can speak to this. In the mortgage industry, I will tell you, having had an experience with a young lady who was refinancing her property, she no longer carried insurance because the house was paid for. That was the quintessential for her. And at the end of the day, a slip and fall in her house caused her to lose the house. And the thing was, it was a bogus situation. We were able to prove that, but as the insurance company said, and as the legal side said, you know what, you're going to spend more money attempting to prove this. And if you have no cash and you're trying to prove this, it just wasn't going to fly. Here was a woman that walked away from her home because her insurance, she had no insurance and she couldn't afford to cover it. What a sad state of affairs. And for the amount of money that insurance cost her, she lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, not that we don't want to leave you on a damper. What we want to do is to move you to take action. Man, Brent, I really call it a day. No, to move you to take action because business makes money. Let's move on to the next one, partnerships. You know, I got to tell you something. Partnerships are often like marriages. The owners are in fact partners. And we all, no matter how close we are in our partnership, that is two people coming together to build a business. Both of them wanting to take draws out of the money and out of the company. In other words, you want to have some cash. You're not working for nothing. So you're drawing money out of your business. When it comes to being taxed, you're taxed on your owner's federal income tax. You have a 1065 schedule. You generally have a 1065. You have schedules, your K1s for the partners. When it comes to the tax year, the same partners owning the majority interest. If the partners are individuals, then it's generally a calendar year. However, who has more of the business? Is it a 50-50? Is it a 60-40? Whatever the structure is will oftentimes dictate how the calendar year is going to work. You're using a federal ID number, and get ready for this. There is still personal liability. There is still personal liability that is involved. So I've got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, partnerships are wonderful. They really are absolutely fantastic. But here is the deal. You've got to really examine how that structure is going to work. Got a question for you, Pamela. Have you had the experience with individuals when it comes to partnerships? Have you had that experience?
Actually, Brent, I have. Actually, I do partner with actually our our entrepreneurs last week, Katie Browder. We actually together we are partner in an event planning event. So yes. Yeah. Now, luckily, our event planning, our relationship has not flowed over to our business. And so we have been business owners with that, partners, should I say, for the last 3 years. So that right there is already a phenomenal, and it has already made a hurdle right there. But also, too, and here's one thing I have to say to everyone. When you go in as being a partner, you guys have to have clear understanding of whose roles are whose and who is responsible for what. Because truthfully, some people can get that power hungry and they lose control. So always go and have it documented, have it legal. It doesn't matter, friend or not, business is business, and we both have that understanding. And when you go and partner with somebody, have that understanding. Business is business, and make a clear understanding who is responsible for what part of functions. Let me be clear, functions in a business. Now again, tax-wise, it's both of you. As it is for us, it's both of you responsible for it. But in roles, make sure you have clear roles and designate who's going to do what.
Hello. Otherwise, and you know, among the things that you shared that is critical, and I totally agree, and that is, if it ain't in writing, it didn't happen. And as digital a universe as we are in, documentation beats conversation every day of the week. It is called
Right.
a piece of paper, ladies and gentlemen, and it is signatures on that piece of paper. We cannot emphasize it enough. Again, it is a structure, it is a choice. You have to go in thinking about it almost like a marriage. How is this going to work? And in this case, you have two people that have mutually exclusive and mutually non-exclusive needs, thought processes. They're two different people. And so that one is critical. That being
Absolutely.
said, the next business, the next potential structure is an LLC, a limited liability corporation. Now, the sole proprietorship, when we talked about the structure, it is in fact a separate legal entity. When it comes to partnerships, it's usually a separate legal entity. When you have an LLC, you have members. Those are
Mhm.
individuals that own. We are now in a membership relationship, and it may be more than two, more than three individuals that are in this limited liability corporation. Again, we have owner's draws on that. Taxed on the owners. Each owner has their own tax return that they are filling in. You have a 1065. You have schedules K1s for all of the members. And now, this is powerful. When it comes to liability, I've got to share something with you. It's not necessarily a guaranteed expression. What does that mean? That means that while each person has personal liability, if somebody falls short and doesn't take care
Mhm.
of their responsibility in this, you might wake up to a bill someday. And you're going, what in the world? Because one of the members did not take care of their end of the business. And there is liability there. We are liable for the whole thing. Now, hopefully, all of the members are doing what they're supposed to do. But there is the avenue of potential liability for a certainty. With that being said, have you had an experience? Do you have any customers? Excuse me, customers. Do you have any clients that uh, that actually are in a limited liability corporation?
I do not. I actually have, though I do have a couple that are the next ones that you're going to talk about, but the LLC one, I have not dealt with them. But I can give this advice again to our listeners. Documentation. I'm telling you, cover yourself. If you don't cover yourself, you'll be waking up to a responsibility that you have no clue and that you are responsible for. So absolutely.
You know, and I'm going to hit that insurance button again. I'm hitting it again, and I'm saying, in this case, have uh, you want to have that insurance, and you want to really motivate everybody to have personal liability insurance.
Mhm.
That's why it exists. You know, I have to laugh sometimes, Pamela, when often people will say, "What are you, Brent, an insurance agent or something?" No, I'm just smart.
Right. Or I'm protecting you.
Thank you.
Right.
That's it, and that's exactly what it is. Protect your interests. Yes, it cost you, but go back and remember what I shared with you. A woman that owned a three-family home here in Massachusetts walked away from it because she didn't have the legal means to protect herself from it. If she had no insurance, so she would be paying it out. So either one or two things happens. Either it depends on the aggressive nature, and in this case, it not assertive but aggressive. It depends on the nature of the attorney that was handling this case on behalf of that plaintiff. That person is either going to have an attachment on the house, or they're going to force a sale of the house. And that was and to think insurance could have saved that person. So,
Mhm.
no, I'm not an insurance agent. I'm about protecting our assets, as is Pamela. How about a C corp? Oftentimes people say, "Well, I'm good." The first thing they think of is a corporation. Oh, and by the way, I've got a little nugget at the end of this relative to the corporations, but let me share that with you. First and foremost, it is a separate entity. It is a
Mm-hmm.
legal separate entity. So we're going to start with that. The owners are shareholders. However that structure is, the owners are shareholders. And generally, the owners have a salary as opposed to a draw from the business. It's taxed on your federal tax returns. It's taxed on the dividends. It is taxed on the owner's federal tax returns. It's taxed on the business tax returns. It's usually Schedule 1120. As far as the tax year, that's a choice that the corporation makes. Sometimes they follow the federal tax year, sometimes they'll follow the state tax year, sometimes they will have a calendar tax year. It has a federal ID, as does the LLC, as does the partnership. Now, here's the interesting thing in terms of personal liability. It's not necessarily expressed. And what that means is this, that there are some levels of a C corporation that fall over or flow over to the individuals. And so you have to be sure that the structure is set up. Now, in this case, when you start getting to, even with partnerships, from partnerships to limited liability corporations to C corps, what I'm going to share with you is you really do want to have legal counsel here to help with that structure. You know, I know that you can go to Delaware and you can buy a package, you can do the legalzoom.com, and you can do all of those things. At the end of the day, I am still going to encourage you to have some counsel that's working in your best interest. Because at the end of the day, this is about you. It's about you. It's about your family. It's about your legacy. And we have got to protect our interests. What are your thoughts, Ms. Pamela, on the subject of a C corporation?
Actually, I work with the C corporation. I work with a lot of nonprofits. That is my other side of my business. So I deal with a lot of the nonprofit organizations. So the legal counsel is huge. Actually, two of the nonprofits that I work with, the legal comes in, actually as a service, he comes in once a month to scrub anything that goes on to make sure by the time tax time comes, there is no surprises. Now, let me say this. I have been with one of the nonprofits where it was a total surprise to them. And it is, as Mr. Brent said, it is not pretty. I mean, we had the federal government, we had the tax people coming in because things weren't filed correctly. And they had thought, okay, you know what, we'll do it the cheap way, and didn't file correctly. So I'm here to tell everybody to please listen and have some legal. And these S Corp and C Corp, you do need legal representation. There is no easy way around it. You do not want to be caught off guard, and nor do you want to be hit with thousands and thousands of dollars of tax money coming from the federal government. So be cautious of that.
My dear, that is true. To the audience, oh yes. Oh, yes, that is so true. Pay it now or pay it later. And I will tell you one thing, usually when you pay it later, it costs a heck of a lot more. We have one more, and we do have our entrepreneur is in the house, and she's going to be introduced momentarily by Pamela. Let me just do one more, and that, in fact, is the S Corp. Because oftentimes what happens with the S Corp is people start thinking, well, maybe I'll go smaller. And smaller, actually, an S Corp is smaller. There are less shareholders that you are able to have in an S Corp. So let me share with you what you have in store. First and foremost, it is a separate legal entity. Shareholders, very similar to a C Corp. Owners' salaries, yes, owner salaries. In terms of your taxes, now, unlike with the C Corp where the dividends are taxed, and they're taxed on the federal tax returns, an S Corp, again, we're not speaking about dividends. However, we are speaking about being taxed on the owner's federal tax return. Not on the business return, but on the personal return. It's an 1120S. And that primarily it deals very similar, or it's taxed very similar to a partnership. It is not, but it's taxed very similar to a partnership. Generally, it's based on the tax year, the calendar tax year. You're using a federal ID as you would with a C Corp, an LLC, and a partnership. And again, when it comes to personal liability, it's not necessarily an express guarantee. So that means that you are going to need to talk with somebody. It is contingent upon the structure. Quite frankly, at the end of the day, other than a sole proprietorship, there are connections that have to be clearly defined because you need to be cognizant of liability. If everybody does not do it right, you may end up holding a bag. Again, I speak to the fact that we want to have some levels of insurance that protect our interests. Those are the primary structures for your business. Now, what we encourage you to do is listen to the broadcast a couple of times so that you can get clear. Do some research on that. But what we wanted to do was give you the structure and the elements. And I'm hoping that that was very helpful for many of us that are here. Some of you may already be structured and you want to rethink your structure. Whew. With that being said, Pamela, you are up next. You have somebody amazing to introduce and bring on the show. And so give me just a moment. What I do want to do is make sure that she can be heard and seen, and let you go ahead and begin the introduction process. Tell us who we are going to be hearing from today.
Absolutely. We have the beautiful and most professional young lady here. I have been so happy to have met her. Her name is Lamish, and Lamish does a lot of video marketing. As I said to everyone at the beginning of the feed, it's important to get your message out now by video. No more is the online or the paper. Now it's all about video marketing. So we're going to hear Miss Lamish. First, Miss Lamish, I want you to meet Miss Brent here, our host of our show. Miss Brent comes in with, she's come in with so much wealth of knowledge and wealth of everything that I'm so happy that she's created this platform for all of us to come to use. So Miss Lamish and Miss Brent.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am hoping that, Lamish, can you introduce
Unmute yourself.
There we go. She's there. No, I was becoming very scared. Oh my goodness. Well, first and foremost, Lamish, welcome to our Wealth Warrior broadcast. You are the second person in our Entrepreneur Spotlight. We are excited to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, a little bit about the history, and drop some nuggets on us. We are so ready to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Pam, too, as well, for inviting me here. I had created Publicity Speaks. That's my company because I wanted to create an entity that will speak for other businesses and individuals. So I called myself like a digital media specialist / publicist because I want to enhance companies' brands. And so companies could be an entity or it could be individual. So most of the time I work with individuals that might be a speaker, or maybe they don't want to do like social media part, and so they would want someone to do that for them to enhance their brand online, or to get their brand in print publications or web publications. So in addition to that, as you were saying, Pam, I have a background with doing videography because I got my master's in new media journalism just a few years back in 2013. And so with the skills that I have from what I had learned through education and just the experience working with marketing companies and nonprofit agencies, I'm able to hone it all in, put it together, and create my own entity, which became Publicity Speaks. And so that is a little bit about what I do, is try to enhance a brand, enhance them to pretty much skyrocket from startup. I really work with currently a lot of startups, so they're from from scratch. Maybe they just got their LLC or their registration pretty much with the state, or they just writing their business plan, but now they're like, what next? And so I kind of will map out some steps that would help enhance their brand from start to finish.
Wow, very nice, very nice. Are we at an age, I heard the word digital. Tell me why digital matters to so many of us, and especially for those that are no longer, let's say they're in the baby boomer period, or they're just before the baby boomer period, and they're trying to understand what the heck is going on. Why is digital so important, and why? Because they're coming kicking and screaming. I'll tell you, they're coming, but it ain't easy. So talk to us about that.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. Over time, a couple hundred years ago, us as people, we have used horses as transportation. We used our feet. We,
She did not
we had to make do with what we had. But then as times changed, early 20th century, people have come to invent better ways to transport. So then the cars came out. So then the motorcycles came out. I don't know when bikes were invented, but bikes came out. Horses were done away with anymore. We don't have to. I don't see any horses. Well, maybe police officers every now and then, but I don't see that we use horses to transport. And so, when did it start? The early 60s or 70s, when pretty much the early part of digital had transformed. The computers came out, and then in the 80s, cell phones were invented. But it started with someone who had a great idea, and it just transformed over time. People caught on, well, let me see how I can make this part better. So then they provided their own niche. 90s and the millennium, and even now in 2016, over time, digital has pretty much transformed the way that we communicate. And it's just going to get better, like the technology will get better, and so there will be easier ways to communicate. And although we were born in a time that we didn't really use digital, I think it's important to at least learn the basics of why and how digital communication is being used. And so we don't have to use it as much, except for if you're doing it for your job, but I think it's so important to at least learn, because it's only going to get it better. And I'm not one to get left behind, but I encourage the baby boomers, or those who might have a little bit more problems learning the digital age technology, to at least learn the basics, such as email and how to type in a website on a browser, just because the technology is only going to get better as we continue to live.
Got it. One of the things that I found, in fact, I'm getting ready to take a social media course. I mean, a course, a 10-week course, to understand that. What videography is that? What you would call yourself, a videographer?
Yes, I'm a videographer.
Okay, and one of the things, I'm going to be studying the social media just to understand the primary medias. What does videography? Is that about putting it into the social media feed, or what is it about the videography that makes me want to put that into my marketing plan?
Well, video is a quick way to see snapshots of action. So, and it's kind of like live. It's because the video is made, it's not going to be real time. There are video platforms that can have it shown in real time, but with video, you kind of get a better feel of the emotion, the environment of what's going on right then and there. as opposed to a picture with the story. Now that's what we're used to. Actually, I love pictures with stories, but then when it comes to video, you can hear voice, you can hear music, you can hear, whatever you might add in there. The wind, if you're outside and you took a video, you can hear what's going on. And so you feel more connected with video as opposed to pictures with a story. And so with video, it's just like, I think you feel more engaged. So if you use video on your timeline or when you use it in your marketing strategy, you're feeling more engaged with your audience, and I think they're more likely to stick with you because it's like, oh, did you see that? They just kind of have a better connection with video.
Okay. I'm enjoying this. I find this, I know that if I put a video up on Facebook, I'll get hundreds of views on that. And then I'll put something else that's a content driven. I'll say, well, wait a second. I thought that was a powerful statement, but the video will people over. Is that, and is it just that we like to be entertained and animated? Is that what it is?
You feel more connected with the person. So say, for example, today I just met you. However, if Pam had sent me a picture of you with your bio, I would imagine something in my head of what type of personality you would have or how you would talk, or my imagination would come up with something different. So then when I actually see a video of you, I hear you talk, I can hear your personality with what you're saying, your opinion statements, and I can see you visually. I feel a better connection with you and me being your audience and you telling me something. I'm more likely to click on the video whenever you send me something.
Got you. Wow. Pamela, did you have any other burning questions that you think?
I do. This is exciting. So let me ask you this, Lamish. We have a lot of baby boomers, as you know, that are becoming the sole proprietors in the LLCs, and they're having. Do you ever see that they're having that it's hard? And if so, what is your recommendation on telling them it's hard? Is it hard to do the video marketing themselves? I know we can come to you. You know me, I'll just give it to you. But sometimes some people are really out here. We have a lot of baby boomers that are having that resistance. So do you think it's hard for a baby boomer to do the video marketing?
Just from experience and those that have told me, yes, it's hard to put it all together. But what the problem is that when I've had conversation with one of my baby boomer clients, it's like she doesn't want to do it herself. However, if I teach her, okay, this is what you do. You can, on your phone, we're going to download this app, and I go through the steps. We download the app. Then with this app, this is how you do a video. You press this button, hold it, say something for 10 seconds, let go, and you can see a replay. So that's for Snapchat. But or if it was a longer video, and then I go through the steps. However, that is really how they want to learn how to, well, some people will want to learn how to do video marketing. If it's something on the computer, of course, they will just tell me, hey, I could do it. But if it's something a little more simple as on the phone, you can do a Periscope, you can do a Facebook Live or a Snapchat, and you can make a really quick video saying something really fast to get your audience's attention. They just want to learn how to do it instead of trying to figure it out themselves, because the verbiage is foreign to them. It's like a whole nother language, and so it just takes more time to figure that out. Whereas it seems as, the little kids nowadays, I don't know if they just know the verbiage. It feels like, how do you just know how to, you're 4 years old. It seems that way. But
You know what? It's language. It's like learning to speak Spanish or French or so on. That brain is just taking it all in, and it has space and room for all that stuff.
Right.
Between what, 2 years old to 6 years old, it's got space and room to make that thing happen. You know, the rest of
Absolutely.
us, you know, all our gigabytes are gone. You know, and you can't buy anymore. So we're out. We are so out. Oh my
Can I
goodness.
ask? I would love to ask just one more question before we wrap this up, Miss Brent.
Yeah.
To Miss Lamish, you had just spoken of several apps that we are willing to try to take on, which was Periscope and Snapchat. Can you tell me what's the difference between the two? Now, let me say this. I can't say as a baby boomer, I do know Snapchat is more towards the generation now versus Periscope seems to be the more to the generation working for the baby boomers. But is that true, or can you tell us a little bit the difference between the two?
I can definitely tell you the difference between the two. Snapchat, when it first came out, was enabled for, you can take a picture. It was for a picture. It got video now, but it was for pictures. You can see it for 3 seconds and it disappeared. So then now it has evolved to where you can do video now up to 10 seconds max. You can show a video of something, or you can say something on video really quick. You can take a picture as well, but it's for a small amount of time. So you know, you can't go through who you are, what you do. You can probably say like your slogan, or you can say, look, I'm here at, you know, you can say that really, really quickly, and then people will see that, and you can save it to a story that it holds for 24 hours, and then it goes away. As for Periscope, the videos can be longer. So Periscope is designed for if you have a Twitter account. So if you have a Twitter account, you can download Periscope on your digital device, which will be your phone or your iPad. And then when you get ready to do your video, you hit the video button, you title the name of your video, and you don't have to hold the button. You just record whatever you're going to record, and it can record for as long until your phone dies. You know, I've seen stuff that was on there for an hour, which is actually a really long time, but because you want to do like maybe 3 or 4 minute videos, because you're more likely to keep your user watching it. And if it's a longer thing, you can do 4 minutes in the broadcast and then go to another one. So the main difference is Periscope is kind of like a live streaming broadcast. I mean, I have watched a whole concert on Periscope.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then on Snapchat, it's just like a really quick thing.
Okay.
Really,
Well,
really.
thank you. Thank you for telling us the difference. That's huge to know, Miss Brent.
It definitely is. I'll tell you, this has been fun listening. Lamish, wonderful. What a pleasure it was to have you in our entrepreneur spotlight. You definitely knocked it out of the park. You shared the information. I'm telling you, if somebody didn't get some nuggets off of this, then shame on them. Lamish, how does somebody get in contact with you? We're gonna open that up. Generally, we say no, you got to contact Brent and so on and so forth. We're gonna put it out there for them. We're gonna give them an extra nugget today. How does somebody get in contact with you?
Awesome. I mean, the best way, follow me online. You can follow me online on any of my networks on Twitter, Periscope, Snap, or Facebook at Mish Nikki, and I'll spell it out for you. It's MESHNICCI. So most of my platforms have the same username, Mish Nikki. And then you can call me if you like. I can give my phone number. It's 614-500-3378. Or you can email me. Hey, if nothing else, you can email me at lamishapr@gmail.com.
Awesome, Lamish. Absolutely fantastic. Pamela, you've done it again. You have found an awesome individual to be with us this morning. Thank you. And at some point, we're going to ask you to come on back. When we grow up a little bit, we're going to ask you to come on back. Will you do that?
Oh, yes, of course.
All righty. Well, listen, you take care. Have a fantastic day.
Hey, thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness, woman. Wow. What a show. What a show. What a show. Why don't we do a rundown real quickly? It's 9:55 Eastern Standard Time. Why don't we do a rundown of the events right quick, and then I will do the other two, and we'll call it a wrap. So what you got?
Okay. That sounds great. Man, our time went by so fast. It's like we get on here and it's already an hour. It was that quick. It was quick.
It did.
I just get so excited. Each weekend I'm like, okay, I get to go back on. I get to talk to the Wealth Warriors. I get to learn. And now I'm like, oh, okay. It's a high and now I'm back down like, okay. But anyways, everyone, for the announcements, do not forget, the announcements that we made, that we say here, you can also find on the Wealth Warrior feed. So I know we go through them fast and everything like that, and I know you're taking a lot of notes, and it's a lot to absorb. Trust me, I understand. But here's our announcements for this week. On 5/24, there is a conference where it talks about where you want to be your own boss. Miss Brent is talking about we need to be our boss. We need to take the money. You know, there's so much money out there. It's crazy. On 5/25, there's a free networking event in Birmingham. And with this event, there's free appetizers. Free appetizers, more people, meaning ability to network with more people. You know, got to get your name out there. You got to network. On 5/26, there is a after work social event at the mini bar. Do not, I understand that, you know, we as working people, we have, we have things during the day, but here's an opportunity where you can go after work. And then the last event that I have is for on September the 30th. There is a girls' night out here in Columbus, Ohio. If anybody who's not able to attend the event, but we're also offering the opportunity for you to advertise in the event and at the event. If you're interested in doing some advertising at that event, actually you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me at my email, which is determined.intuitivewoman@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook as well, Pamela Stone.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Want to share two more events with you, and we're going to call it a wrap. First and foremost will be this next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Game night in Boston. Mix and mingle. We are going to have a wow event, and we're going to be talking about a business opportunity. We're going to be talking about money, and you're going to be connected with people that are incredibly comfortable with discussing wealth and legacy. It starts at 7 p.m. at the Best Western Adams Inn in Quincy, Massachusetts. All roads lead to Quincy. In July, both myself and Pamela are going to be at the She Speaks event. That's on July 29th through the 31st. And you are welcome to join us. This is a She Speaks and a He Speaks. It's for men and for women. It's going to be held in Atlanta. And we know that people love Atlanta. You're going to have an opportunity to meet some awesome speakers. There are going to be breakout sessions. You're going to be able to get upfront and personal with individuals. I'm going to drop the information in the feed so that you are able to book. I'm one of the ambassadors. When you go up to the site, all you do is click ambassadors, press Brent Harding, and you are able to register yourself. So with that being said, today, like Pamela said, an hour goes by so fast. It is amazing. We hope that you got some true nuggets out of today's broadcast and that you are rethinking what your business structure is going to look like. Our mission next week, just to give you a primer for next week, we're going to be talking about this again. However, we are then going to bring in counsel to go deeper with some of the questions that you are likely going to have. With that being said, we want to say to you, as always, it is a pleasure to be here. Pamela, do you have a quick last one before I say the infamous words?
Absolutely. Let today be your beginning for tomorrow, everyone, and get out here and be productive. See you later.
Awesome. With that being said, I echo that and I go one step further and say, go out today and be extraordinary. We'll see you next week.